Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Wide Open Wednesday. I have loved all the great questions you've been submitting on my Instagram, so let's get right to it. This week I got questions from Angelina, Olivia Burke, and Barrel Racing Mike Ray, all wanting to know what workout do I do with my horses to keep them in shape, what the exercise plan I have for my horses, and what are some of my favorite riding exercises to do with Striker and why. Well, my training and exercising conditioning program really focuses on flexation and flexibility and suppleness with all of my horses, not just Striker, also my reining horses. Um, I also want quick responsiveness with them. I don't want them to respond in 3 steps. I don't want them to respond in 2 steps. I want them to respond right now. In barrel racing, in any type of competition, when you have that quick responsiveness and it's a willing movement, you're going to score higher and get a faster time. So those are some things I really focus on all my training. And it also comes down to consistency for me. Being able to ride consistently, regularly. If you're going to the gym only twice a week, you're really not going to see the results that you're hoping for. And the same thing goes with our horses. So when I'm training, I like to be able to ride consistently. And that may mean I can only ride 4 times a week, but if I ride 4 days in a row, then that's better than kind of disjointed workouts as well. Because I have a full time job, finding time to ride can be really tricky. So a lot of it is early mornings and late nights for me. If I can get up and saddle and be ready to go before the sun rises, then I can ride about 2 horses before I get to work. The same thing with at night. I will ride until it is dark, not dusk, completely dark. I don't have the benefit of my own private arena, so I have to battle with um, the public trying to use public arenas. That means young riding groups, that means rodeos, horse shows, anything that can be booked at these arenas. So those kind of off hours is really beneficial because it's like my own private arena. It works out fantastic. Um, Also, deliberate practice. Every time I cinch up a horse, I have a purpose for our workout that day. I know exactly what I'll be doing with them. I kind of like to plan that out a little bit. That sometimes may change depending on how the horse is acting that day, but at least I go into it with a game plan, not just cinching up and loping circles. Also, when I'm training horses, I like to focus on their mental health as well. So that means getting them in new environments, taking them on trail ride, whatever that might mean. I'm conditioning and training more than just their bodies. I'm conditioning their mind as well. I've also got some really great drill videos coming out soon. I filmed some of them, now I've just got to edit them. So I'm so excited. Make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss out on my favorite drill videos. Okay, CM Plesias? Sorry, I totally screwed that one up. Asked me, what has been your favorite lesson learned so far with barrel racing? That's a really great question. I think something that really scared me about barrel racing coming into it is as a former reiner, I thought it'd be totally different. I thought I'd have to completely retrain myself as a rider, that I wouldn't know how to do anything. And I was surprised to learn how much barrel racing actually is like reining. Um, so it was a great lesson to learn. I'm so glad that I learned it. Just like in reining, my horses need to be flexible, they need to be supple, and they need to be responsive. They need to have that light touch and move off my rein quickly or move off my leg quickly. So it's just like reining in that sense. Also, I need to have a really deep seat when I'm in my barrels. I'm kind of stay anchored in the back of my saddle and have that balance to ride. I also need to ride more with my legs than my hands. And so those are all things that I learned in reining and refined in my reining training. And those are things that are very important in my barrel racing as well. So that was a great lesson to learn as well. Thanks for your question. All right. Sarah Bow Pink wants to know how I went from not riding a barrel horse to winning the 1D and being sponsored in less than 6 months. Looks like Dakota Wells had the same question. Um, First of all, the very first thing I did was sought after wisdom from those at the top of the game. I wanted to learn from the best in the business, and I wanted to continually, and still do, collect knowledge from those who have been there and done that and are successful at it. Um, I created a plan and then I dedicated myself to it. I didn't wait around. I didn't, twiddle my thumbs hoping that this would just pan out on its own. I had to work at it. And I, created my plan. I created my goal sheet, stretch goals, SMART goals. You might hear me talking about those. And I just threw myself into it with all my heart and soul. And I just dedicate every spare minute I have to pursuing this dream. Success is a formula. It doesn't matter if it's barrel racing. It doesn't matter if it's business or school or relationships. There is definitely a formula and a science to success. And it's just about breaking things down step by step, seeking wisdom from those at the top of the game, and then dedicating yourself to it. Learning through trial and error as well. Not every run is perfect, and I certainly didn't start perfect, but I started, and that was the important part. Um, in terms of how I got sponsors in less than 6 months, it's about creating value for sponsors. When you guys are going after sponsors, I see a lot of girls spending a lot of time trying to sell themselves on, why they're such a great rider, or, how the company would benefit from partnering with them. Consider the reverse. Consider what value you can add for these companies. That's what they're looking for. And whether that's access to an audience online, whether that's through doing product reviews, whatever that might be. And so when you're seeking after sponsors, think about the value you can add back to that company. All right. Kennedy wants to know, why did I want to become a barrel racer? Um, it came down to, I was looking for a new challenge. I love horses. I love competition. And in my mind, this seemed like the logical next step. I was formerly a rodeo queen, and then I finished my undergraduate, started my career, was busy with that for several years, started an MBA program, graduated from that, and I just wanted to get back to horses and competition so badly. Like I said, I just loved it. It just is that fire in my soul, and this just seemed like the logical next step. Frankly, it could have been cutting horses. It doesn't matter. I just really, really wanted to compete again. I had such a wonderful experience as Miss Rodeo Utah, being a part of rodeo, the travel, the excitement, getting to see different parts of the country. I just really enjoyed that, and and like I said, barrel racing just seemed like a good fit, and it was something different than what I had done before, and so it was just a fun challenge, and that's really all it was for me. But I'm loving it. I'm really enjoying every second of this. Okay, AQHA Peppy Jet wants to know what they should look for in a barrel prospect. What makes a great barrel horse? Um, this is a great question. I've been getting this question a lot lately too. I'm actually trying to work on an e-course to share a lot more in-depth information with you on this. When I was looking for a striker, I did a pretty exhaustive study on different things to look for in winning horses. Um, some kind of, just off the top of my head, things that I look for is a strong top line on my horses, and they have a really strong loin, transmitting power from rear to front, and that's very important to me. I also like a horse with a deep heart girth. If you don't know what that is, look at your 4-H books. A deep heart girth means they have more lung capacity and they can breathe well, and that's really important in a speed event like this. Um, and then, of course, just structurally sound. I mean, so just a confirmation, things are very important in barrel racing. If they're not physically able to perform, it doesn't matter how much heart they have. They need to be physically able to perform the task as well. And a sound mind that can handle pressure. That is so important in this game. We put these horses under a lot of pressure, and especially on the rodeo road, the environment is scary. Rodeos are held in conjunction with carnivals and fairs, and the environment is terrifying. Fireworks, all those things. So if your horse has a sound mind and can handle that pressure, that is a huge, huge plus for that horse. Also, a horse that fits your style. Striker fits my style perfectly. He may not be the perfect horse for everyone, though, and it just depends. I like big, long strided horses. Some people like smaller, compact, scattered horses. They do well in small pens. It just depends on the horse that fits your style. So I joked before that it's just like finding a husband. I don't know much about that either, but it seems like when you know, and they have to be right for you. What's right for you may not be right for everyone else, but it has to feel right for you and have that connection. Um, and the horse has to want it. Your horse has to have a lot of heart. So being able to look him in the eye and see that fire and passion in him. I had this fantastic reining horse, and man, he wanted it. You looked into his eye, and he had this just intense gaze. All my pictures, sliding stops, and everything, he just had this amazing look in his eye. That horse wanted it. Thanks for your question. Alyssa Ashby wants to know, what are my suggestions on the best bit for good control and learning on a young horse? Well, I always start all of my colts in either a Boselle or just a O-ring snaffle bit. Um, I even practice most of my seasoned horses though in a twisted snaffle. It's less about the bit and it's more about how you use it, in my opinion. Horses learn from the release, not the pull, and so it's that reward that they're going to learn from. So a huge gag bit, port, rollers, 60-inch shanks, it doesn't matter how harsh your bit is, it's how you use it. Um, and so when you learn to go through those steps, when you first request, require, remind, um, I'm sorry, it's not that way. It's let's see. I'm not gonna screw this up for you guys. It is you request, remind, require, and then reward. When you take them through those steps every time and build that consistency in how you're riding, your horse will build consistency in how they respond to you. Um, and so you start with a light touch, you get a little bit firmer, and then you release once they respond, even just a little bit. So they learn from that release and reward, not from the pull. Um, Also, every horse is different, so pay attention to their needs. I don't show every horse on the same bit. Um, you know, um, they all have just a little bit different need, and so be sensitive to that and be aware of that. If a bit's not working, try some others. It can get a little bit expensive, going through that many bits, but um, but remind yourself if your horse is really fighting your bit, really pushing hard, it may not be the bit. It may have more to do with how you're using it. Thanks for your question. Okay, Haley wants to know, how can I be a better rider and train my horse to its highest potential? My suggestion for you is to learn from all disciplines. You can learn something from everyone. And so I like to study all different disciplines. I did 4 H growing up as a little kid, and it really gave me a great foundation of good horsemanship. And I was exposed to, different classes. They change every year, and I got to just try and sample different things and kind of build that good, solid foundation. After that, I competed in reining. I learned a lot from cutting horses and reining cow trainers as well. Those horses are extremely responsive and athletic. So I like to learn from them. I also have multiple barrel training coaches. Each one has a different style, and I can take pieces of that and incorporate it into my own training regimens. I also study English very extensively. English, eventing, jumping, cross country, all of it. Um, those equestrians have some pretty talented animals, and some of it translates over to barrel racing, frankly. They have to rate to the jumps, they have to be able to lengthen and shorten their horse's stride, they have to have soft hands, they have to have incredible balance as riders, and they also really know how to condition those horses. Those are some very lean, athletic animals, so they really know a lot about equine nutrition and conditioning. So I like to study English for those reasons. And also just read everything you get your hands on. Consume information in YouTube videos, in DVDs. I read a ton of training magazines and books as well. And so learning and studying all disciplines has really helped me become a good trainer and a good rider and let my horse, grow to their fullest potential. All right, you guys, thank you so much for your questions this week. I've had a blast putting this together for you. Make sure that you subscribe below. Click this button right there. And I can't wait to see you next week. Oh, huge announcement. I am going to have a very special episode of Wide Open Wednesday that I'll film this weekend with a super secret guest. I will be announcing it later on my Instagram and Snapchat, so make sure you're following me there. Both are at Renee Cowley. I will put the information below in the description. Can't wait to see you guys next week. Thank you so much. Take care.